Hello, welcome to the Connected Corner. I am your host, Kiana B. Jones. My co-host, my wonderful co-host, Tori Rose, will be joining us. And so we are here today on our special edition of just staying connected. We want you to stay connected, and it's where are they now? Okay. So we want to talk to previous guests who is still connected with us here at the Connected Corner. Hello, Miss LaQuisha Hall. Thank you for joining us again on the Connected Corner. We're so happy to catch up with you. You were with us about maybe a year ago. And so we know a lot has happened with COVID, with virtual learning, and all of those different things. And so, as an educator, we just definitely want to reconnect with you. We want our viewers and our listeners to connect with you. And so, we are definitely excited to have you here with us today. And so thank you for being with us today. Thank you for being here. And so we want to connect with you. We have our co-host with us, Tori Rose. Say hi to Tori, y'all.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello. And so LaQuisha, just tell us just start with how have you been?
Well, first of all, I'm happy to see y'all queens. I'm so excited to be back. It's actually been 2 years since I last joined y'all because I think I was the teacher of the year when I last joined in person, when I could see y'all and hug you. So, um, girl, that's a loaded question in this pandemic. Praise the Lord.
Right.
But I will tell you, I am grateful to be here. Physically, mentally, spiritually, I'm just happy to be grounded because I recognize that, while we might make jokes like that, there are a lot of people who have suffered and struggled through this pandemic. And I'm just
Mhm.
grateful that I'm in a place where I can successfully articulate how I feel and that I'm in a place of peace as well. So,
Well, we're happy to hear that, and we are certainly happy to have, made it through. We appreciate you for enduring through. Tori and I both made a shift, from education since the pandemic and things have started, and so we definitely, give not just congratulations, but sending hugs and strength and prayers to all of our all of our educators who have definitely continue to go through because we know a lot of people was like, oh, we're going to try something new now, with the pandemic and what has happened. So thank you for sticking in there. And so I know we know that you do a lot more, than teaching and education and being teacher of the year. So tell us about some of the other service or products or things that you do as well.
well, I have transitioned even in education. I'll start there. So I'm not any longer teaching in the classroom per se, but now I'm teaching teachers. So I'm coaching teacher leaders to support their school leadership. And so that has been just as rewarding as supporting our scholars. And then also, I am in a place now where I'm using my artistry, my creativity to teach as well. And so I've been an artist for quite some time, but I think in this pandemic, I've found a way to implement more of that side of me. And so I have started teaching classes online as well as supporting uh, social media communities with overcoming abuse through art. And so I've been able to do that on the side as well.
Wow, that is awesome. I am an art lover myself, not very artistic, to say, I think I'm able to do, some things, but I definitely love art. And I see, you have some creativity in your background. So that is wonderful to do that. And we know, like, with art, like people are using that a lot more now with for therapy and different things and such. So we definitely appreciate you for using that. Like, you're multi-talented, and using that to help people definitely heal through this time. And so you've kind of talked about what has changed, in your work and in your business since we last spoke to you, and since you've been on the Connected Corner. So again, we thank you again for joining us. And for those that are watching, make sure you subscribe to the Connected Corner. Hit that subscribe button so you can get notified when we're going live and when we're having special edition shows like we're having here with LaQuisha tonight. So another question we have: what has been the greatest challenge you've overcome, especially since the pandemic has occurred? And what have you learned from it?
So I guess I can say honestly, I probably have had two challenges. It's been so many challenges. Okay, I'm just going to be honest. But some of the ones that have hit the hardest have been dealing with the racial tension that has been occurring in our country, and not becoming so angry that I can't maintain my character, right? So. And then also, I have been concerned about our young people. I've, over the 18 years that I've been in education, heard a lot of stories about abuse. And so with a lot of them being home more often, I have wondered if they've had outlets like they had when they were going to school, hoping and praying that they can find a person to talk to if they need to, because I know that can look different when it comes to parental support and things like that. So, and then also just the grief of the vaccinations, I mean, honestly, I am not a person who frequently goes out. And so I have spent this last year in my home. I've gone out. I went out last year when the pandemic started maybe 20 times. And I can articulate that number to you because I literally track where I went each time. And this year, since January 1st, I've been out in a car out 6 times so far. And it's May. So I won't tell you that I'm fearful. I'm telling you that I'm just extremely cautious and conscientious of where I'm going, the choices that I'm making, and things like that. What I've learned is it's important to be a voice still. So like prior to the pandemic, a lot of us would take the time to go out and have these big events, and we talking about we're going to be the voice and we're going to help the community. Well, that cannot subside because we're home. And I do like the innovation of a lot of community leaders, especially you and Tori, of how you've used technology and the virtual world to still connect with people. But there's still so much work to be done. And I feel like because of the limitations that we have on us now, that a lot of people have not pushed through as much as they could. And so I think now is even more important because we're experiencing an increase in reportings on sexual abuse. We're experiencing an increase in suicide, calls into the suicide hotline center, and then also just the mental health crisis that we're experiencing right now across probably the globe. I don't even want to say our country. That is the reason that we have to keep pushing through for our community the way we did before. Even if you can't dress up and get the pictures taken, it's still just as important now as it was before. So that's what I've learned.
Most certainly. And I think you've said a mouthful. I love those earrings. They're amazing. So it's always hard for me because everybody who knows me knows I have ADHD. And so we're talking about something very serious, kids being home, potentially, not being mentally well. And I'm like, ooh, earring, earring, And so even with that, right, being an adult who has been vocal about my learning needs and things like that, I love what you're saying. It's so important. And we hope that the listeners are not only hearing you, but they're willing to connect with you and also say, how can we pick up a beam and go to work, even if it's virtually, right?
Yep.
I also want to just commend you for making the change career-wise because
Thank
that
you.
has been extremely hard. I know Kiana and I struggled kind of with, well, what does that look like? Does that mean we're aborting certain missions? You know, you have to evolve based on what the needs are for the people you serve. So kudos to you in that regard. Let me ask, how do you deal with, you know, being burnt out or feeling unmotivated? Is there ever a time? And where's that balance for you?
Tori, is there ever a time? It probably happened right before this show, girl. Listen, every day I wake up, there's something that where I'm in my head like, oh, do I want to do it? It's just like before. But I will say this. I said this before you joined. I'm grateful to be here because I know that there are other people in positions and situations that are way more stressful than mine. Like I said, I've had the privilege of being able to work from home a lot longer than a lot of other people have. But I will say that it has been even more important for me now to get outside, whereas before the pandemic, I never sat down. Like Tori, we talked about this, how we were always going, always somewhere, always speaking, always sharing, showing, doing something. And now that I'm home, I'm finding that I have to remember to go for a walk, right? And so that's what I tend to do when I start to get a little drained or burned out. And then I also journal a lot. And I actually can show y'all this because I have it right beside me. I actually started a walking journal, so it looks like wildflowers. And what I do is I just write about what God says to me during my walk, right? And so I don't take my cell phone. I literally just walk and explore outside. I'm intentional about listening to the birds singing, noticing wildflowers growing on the ground, like little things that we might not notice because we are. I love it, Kiana.
You do love it. And I it's funny because Kiana did that. And I actually
Oh
these came on.
yeah!
I
Oh
want to
my
give a
goodness!
shout out to the Meals on Wheels. I've been a volunteer with the Meals on Wheels of Central Maryland for almost, I don't know, 12, 13 years. It's been a long time. And I got these and I refused to plant them just now. I prayed over them first. And so
Yes.
I've been praying and letting God just use whatever He's going to do. 7 days of prayers with my seeds before I plant them. And so it's amazing that you're in alignment with that. I know Kiana is in a position where things are growing and blooming. Tell us the benefit of that walking journal. What does it make
Oh my
you
goodness.
feel like?
It just reminds me to be grateful, right? So, because we can so quickly become complacent, complicit, complain. We can so quickly do that pre-pandemic and during, right? Walking outside and hearing birds singing during a time when we've lost so many lives, when so many people are going through such trials, is just extremely grounding and such a reminder spiritually for me that God has my back and has had my back, and that I need to be grateful in every moment that I have, right? And so, and then I know I'm also aware, just being outside, sometimes I'm aware that one day I won't be walking anymore, that I won't hear birds singing anymore. And then I need to take all that in while God has given me this time. And so, um,
Wow.
I'm just grateful you asked that question because I think that's important for us all right now to do is, sometimes I've heard something and I hope this doesn't trigger anybody in your comments, Tori. If it does, I'll go in there and help you, girl. But I keep hearing in the social media world about toxic positivity. And so there's like a group of people out there right now that feel like when you ask them to be grateful or to notice the blessings that you have in spite of what you could be going through, they feel that that's toxic because they just want to vent and not be told to consider that. And so I just think it's important that if we don't do it, where do we go when we do return to normal, right? When you spent all this time just sitting in your feelings and sulking, how do you regain your character, your composure, your life, if you're not living in the spirit of gratitude when you don't have your life the way that you were used to it looking, right? And so it's almost like, why should you get more if you don't appreciate what you got? And even though what you have might be limited, it's still important in that space to say, I'm grateful to be here. And so I just wanted to share, maybe for the people watching, you saw my journal and you're like, I can't do that every day. Just picking up a notebook and writing 3 things you're grateful for each day and trying to be intentional about what those 3 things are. So not just the traditional food, clothing, and shelter, but really thinking about your day, birds singing, the cracks in the ground, the air, clean, fresh air that you're breathing. There's some countries that don't have fresh air right now. And so that's important to me.
And that's a great, great point. And I have heard of that, toxic positivity. I will say this, there are people who are always going to be glass half empty or glass half full people. And you just got to figure out in this world who you're going to be. For
Yeah,
those of us that believe in a higher power, be it God, if it's Buddha, if it's the universe, whatever you believe in, that means you believe in the laws of reciprocity, right? And you believe
yeah,
what you sow. And when you're reaping something good, you're investing that to come back to you in a positive way. And so I am someone who's extremely negative. Kiana, I tell you, I'm extremely negative in my core, meaning like, I was probably like the grumpy baby in the nursery. And so intentionally through my life, I have had to reprogram, right? You go
hmm
against your DNA, Kiana
yeah,
and I bump off of each other all the time because, there are sometimes I can pull myself forward and there's sometimes I can. She's like, oh, negative Nancy. And so you have to choose who you want to be. And so let me
hmm
ask the next question, which is what advice would you give someone who wants to either pursue a career like yours or even wants to come and be a little more positive? What advice would you give them?
highly recommend the advice of documenting daily something that you're grateful for. And you can do that in any notebook. It doesn't have to be decorated like the one that I shared. And then also not comparing your life to the lives of other people. So I know that right now a lot of people are online looking at Instagram, Facebook, and all that, and people are still sharing the best of their lives, even though they may not be in the best of times, right? And so sometimes what people try to compare themselves to or what they think they fall short of isn't exactly what they even see in the photos, right? And so I think it's important for us to, again, that gratitude plays a big role in keeping you grounded. Even when you're on social media, you can see a picture of somebody successful and still say to yourself, Lord, I'm grateful to be here. Like, I don't need a new car. I just want to be alive and well at a time when people can get sick at the drop of a hat and lose their lives within a week or two. And so I think that's important. It's easier said than done. I recognize that, but that's where the gratitude, being intentional about your gratitude and documenting it or
Mhm.
highlighting it somehow in your life plays a role. It kind of keeps you focused. And then having a sounding board, just like you and Kiana are for each other. Having at least that one person that you can go to when you're feeling like a negative Nancy, because it happens. Nobody's perfect. You always need, or sometimes we go through things that are difficult for us to carry alone, and it's okay to have that
Mhm.
person that you trust. But the key is to not stay there. So once you let that out, once you released it to that person, what's your plan for the solution to your problem? That's the next part. And that person who receives that complaint, we'll call it, hopefully will support you in that. And if they don't, support yourself through that. Like once you can't, and once you come down from your, I hate my job. Okay, what we gonna do differently tomorrow? So,
Most certainly, most certainly. And so this is the Connected Corner, guys. We are excited to be here on a Reconnected Corner show with the amazing LaQuisha Hall. I always want to call you LaQuisha Hill. And it's because I see you as someone that's on the top of the hill. That's how I see you all the time. LaQuisha,
oh,
she's amazing. So if you are watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our channel, The Connected Corner. If you're watching us on Facebook, make sure you go over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Also hit the like and get notified when we are live and on air. So that's advice for your wellness, your mental, your health. What about professionally? If someone wants to come into education or wants to maybe even help children or reach children, what advice would you give them?
okay. Well, first of all, I'm gonna tell you, don't come into education right now, and it's not because not because I
It's
want
a
to
tough
discourage
time. It's a tough
anybody.
time.
Well, we
It's a
have some
different
stuff we got to
environment
work
right
out
now.
right now. And I don't think it's impossible, but I think it's too many voices in the field right now, and so it's inundated, and we can't hear the leader, right? And so, um, I will say it is essential for people who work with young people or even parents to be extremely intentional about looking for signs in children that show a change in behavior, that show a shift in their regular routine. Those things often lead to you discovering depression, anxiety in them, or even something that they need to reveal to you that they feel uncomfortable sharing. And I speak to that as a person who has had to overcome abuse. And I'm not saying that kids are being abused, but sometimes kids are really going through some things. A lot of parents are not aware that a child could be sexually abused via the internet. And so just being aware of what children are looking at, engaging with, not just letting them log into class and releasing them for the day, but really being intentional. And I know it can be difficult when you work as well, but just try to be aware of that. And then also for school leaders, I've been kind of hard on them this year, and I know that they need support too, but I think it's essential right now that they be a little more cognizant of how they reach teachers. So, not just sending an email saying what you need, but asking them if they're okay. I think that's extremely important right now. We're losing teachers in great numbers, and I think if we just show a little more compassion from the level of leadership, I think they will be more receptive to trying again the next day.
That's great advice and so true. And I know the social emotional is important. I know they focus on that with the students with the online
Yeah.
learning and virtual learning, but the teachers need that emotional, social emotional support as well. And so
Mhm.
you shared with us your walking journal and some of the other things that you had. What are the best resources that had helped you along the way, throughout your career? And, you've shared with us what has helped you through the pandemic, but what are some resources that have also helped you along the way?
So one of the things I can say is social media has actually helped me. It's been a resource. I mean, just following Tori. I mean, she's always posting, and I'm being serious. She's always sharing or posting something happening in the community. It's not something that you gotta leave the house for to participate in all the time. A lot of people are sharing resources where you can get food, where you can get things that you might not have enough of. I found out through Facebook today that there's a gas shortage. So I called my husband. I said, "Gas up, we come home." So things like that. It's been a resource. We can use social media to support ourselves, and also having a coach or a mentor at this time in our lives, I think, is really important. So I used to be anti-coaches because I felt like I kept hearing the same message, but right now I need my coach. So, I think um, being open to therapy if needed. There's a lot of virtual resources as far as therapy right now that's being offered to communities is essential, especially in our community where there's a stigma that we put on ourselves a lot of the time as far as our mental health is concerned. And it is currently Mental Health Awareness Month. So learning as much as you can about what that could look like and what it looks like in your life. Sometimes we don't even realize that we're demonstrating the behaviors of poor mental health. And so educating ourselves via the internet is important, and attending forums as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I was writing notes. I see Kiana. We're over here jotting down, and it's because iron sharpens iron, and I think that people, as you've pointed out, often see what is posted on social media, and that is
Mhm.
a small glimpse of what the larger picture looks like. Too frequently, I have young women, especially, come to me who feel extremely deflated because they don't feel like they're meeting their goals or where they want to be
Mhm.
because of what they see other people are doing, and it affects their mental health. And so you've hit so many amazing points. You've touched on so many topics that are near and dear, but I hear a solution using
Mhm.
social media for the positive.
Yeah.
And so I think that is amazing. And hopefully our viewers who are subscribing to our channel, right, on social media, on YouTube, who are staying connected to the news and resources they can actually use, they actually walk away hearing, when I'm overwhelmed, I can disconnect. When
Yes.
I'm underwhelmed, I can connect.
Mhm.
That's the key. You go get what you need. And when you are being filled, it's a good thing. When you
Yes.
are overwhelmed, you have the power to disconnect. And it is in those moments that we preserve our mental health. And I think what you've said is just amazing. And so thank you so much. We are excited about just checking in with you. You know, life is happening to everybody. So it's good to see that you're in one piece, be it 20 visits outside or 2 visits outside.
Thank
That
you.
you're still here with us. Can you tell us a little bit about how to get connected with you, how to follow you, how to find you? If anyone is watching or catching on the replay and they say, I like LaQuisha, how can they connect with you?
Well, first of all, I like you too. No, but seriously, if you are looking for a creative outlet, you're home and you like, I want to try this journaling thing out, you can find me at Confident Canvas on all social media. And that's confident in canvas, like a painting canvas. And I also can point you in the direction of classes, or you can just be inspired by the pictures and information that I share freely every day. And also, if you're an educator, I can be found at Mrs. Hall Scholars. I'm currently doing a giveaway for teachers because I hate Teacher Appreciation Week. I think we should have Teacher Appreciation Start, which means we start here and keep going. So I'm doing a big giveaway for next school year to encourage teachers to relax this summer. And finally, also at LaQuisha Hall on everything as well.
I love it. I love it. That's amazing. Kiana, you have any additional questions before we wrap up with the amazing LaQuisha Hall?
No additional questions. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all having me back.
I love those cards. And we want to give a shout out to Wide Angle Youth Media for those amazing cards that Kiana uses. They are just adding so much value to the young people, not only in Baltimore, but in the DMV and beyond. So shout out to Wide Angle Youth Media. Guys, you heard it right here at the Connected Corner. We got connected almost 2 years ago. Now
Yes.
reconnected. And if nothing else has been taken from this, I want our listeners and viewers to hear it is okay to change paths. It is okay to do something different. It is okay to stretch and grow. It is okay to say no and stay in the house. But it is not okay to not be uniquely you and not be true to yourself. And so I'm just blessed. I mean, I got chills. You can't see them because, you know, I'm so light-skinned sometimes. But I have these little goose bubbles because I'm so excited about you just being uniquely you. And so be confident, be courageous, and continue to stay connected. This has been the Connected Corner. I'm your girl, Tori Rose. You can find me on all social medias at Tori Rose. Everything's positive is me. Anything negative is somebody else. Kiana, how can we find you?
You can find me on all social media, the positive social media, as LaQuisha say, all positive social media at Kiana B. Jones. That's on all social media platforms. You can find me there. And again, be positive. There's only positivity there.
Right.
And so, LaQuisha, you told us how we can find you on social media. Again, we just want to say thank you for reconnecting with the Connected Corner today. You have dropped so many jewels, as Tori said. Like, I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. And I'm looking forward to visiting the Confident Canvas. And so, yes, I love art. And so cannot wait to visit that as well. So thank you so much for joining us. And make sure you guys subscribe and join us on every Tuesday at 8 p.m.
Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. And LaQuisha, we're going to talk because I've been doing confidence coaching. And so I call myself the confidence coach. I actually am rolling out confidence candles. And so it's amazing how God will even align that because there's
Absolutely.
a space in the earth. Someone says being positive is toxic.
Yeah. And
Space in
I
the
also dibbled and dabbled in being a confidence coach in the past. So we do need to chat. Give yourself some grace every day. You're going to need it.
Listen, and this is what the Connected Corner is about. So, guys, you see, these are real life connections where you get news and resources you can actually use. We appreciate you guys. We thank you for tuning into our special edition. Have an amazing evening. Peace.
God bless. Thank you.